Good morning. My name is Sophie. I'm going to be your MC for today. I'm part of the youth committee for the Multi-Faith Multicultural Centre that is organising today. It's lovely to be with you all. I'm really looking forward to spending the rest of the day with you. Before we go any further, I'd just like to acknowledge the traditional people of the land on which we stand today, the Jawa and Gayabal people, their elders, past and present, and moving forward into the future. So, today we have a jam-packed day of things ready to go for you all. And before, as you all know that today is about social media and our social responsibilities that come with our use of social media. So just before we get started, I just wanted to ask, who here has a phone? Who here has an iPhone? Who here has Facebook? Who here has been on Facebook this morning? I was hoping that there'd be like a huge raise of hands because I've been on there multiple times this morning. Instagram, Twitter. Twitter is dying out. MySpace. So for instance, when I was in grade 8, MySpace was the thing. Everyone had MySpace and Facebook was just this new thing that no one had. Anyway, today we're going to be exploring a little bit more about these different social media platforms and social media itself and what it means for us as young people today and as potentially the future leaders of our generation. A little bit more info about you. Who here is, we should have a range of people from grade, I think, is anyone in grade 8? Grade 9. Wonderful. Grade 10. Lovely. Lots of grade 10s today. Grade 11 and grade 12. Wow, thank you for taking the time out of your days today to spend it with us. I know that especially for 11s and 12s, this is a hard term, so thank you for spending today with us. A little bit more about today and what will be happening. I'll just take you through it quickly. This morning we're going to have a keynote address, and then after morning tea we're going to be before morning tea, we're going to also be doing some Mythbuster sessions. And then after morning tea, we're going to hear from people closer to your age and their thoughts on this topic today. And then in the afternoon, we're going to draw all of that together and how we're going to move forward into the future. So before we go any further today, I would like to introduce to you another person who's a key personality in how today is going to run. He's now going to get us started for the rest of the day, Mark Cecil.
Thanks, Sophie. It's really good to see so many of you here. We've run this, I think, has anyone been to one of these forums before? I think it's the fourth year. So I'm part of the committee with Sophie and Alex here as well. And I'm thrilled to be still considered a youth. It's been some time since I've been at school. So being that no one's been here before, normally we have a bit more, but that's not such a bad thing. I think it's really great that it's a close-knit and smaller group. And what it gives you the opportunity to do today is to really interact. So that's what I'd like to encourage today, is really get involved, have your say, particularly this afternoon. Unfortunately, I won't be here, but Sophie and the team are really looking forward to getting your feedback. And I'm hoping even in the sessions that I'll be here up to lunch that I learn as much from you as you will from us today. So my job this morning, I'll be back a little bit later to talk about social media from a business aspect. But for the moment, my job right now is to do a bit of an icebreaker and get the energy and minds flowing a little bit. So this is part of your interaction for the first part of the morning. So what I'd like you to do is stand up. Not too many groans, that's great. Now, everyone's played paper, scissors, rock before. So what I'd like you to do, and don't just stick to your school. I think we've got 2 schools here. Is that right? So make sure you mix it up. You're going to have to anyway at some point today. So what I'd like you to do is introduce yourself. We're only going to do this for a few minutes. So introduce yourself to someone either from your school, hopefully from someone else, and play a quick game of paper, scissors, rock. Loser sits down and the winner moves on to the next person. But make sure, key thing, introduce yourself first. What school you're from, obviously you won't have to do that if you're from the same school. And then get into your game. So just really quickly, it's not the best of three, you get one shot and then move on to the next person.
Think of me and I'll be there. We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun, but the hills that we climbed were just seasons at a time. Goodbye, Papa, please pray for me. I was the black sheep of the family. You tried to teach me right from wrong. Too much wine and too much song. Wonder how I got along. Goodbye, Papa, it's hard to die when all the birds are singing in the sky. Now that the spring is in the air, little children everywhere.
Here we go. For the championship. Let's make this one best of three. 1-0. I did say it. Yeah, well done. Well done. Give a round of applause. Well done, guys. Hopefully that was a bit of fun. And the main point of that was to get you moving and get the mind flowing for the day. So what does Paper, Scissors, Rock have to do with social media? Did anyone watch the Oscars earlier this year? Yeah. So you may have seen this ad from Android actually did this ad. So it relates to social media in this way. That's the best I can do to relate Paper, Scissors, Rock to social media. I think it does have a pertinent message though, in that we all use social media differently. I can't believe there's only one Twitter user here. I love Twitter, but we all use it differently. Has anyone ever been a victim of bullying, or they've seen bullying on social media? I'm sure you've seen it on the media, but it is prevalent. I think what today is about, and the idea behind the icebreaker and also showing that video, is to don't be afraid to show your ideas today, and it also is about integration today and really putting your ideas forward and being heard, because we do want to hear some positive ideas and thoughts on how we can go forward. And I'm certainly no social media expert, so as I said, I'm looking forward to hearing as much from you as you are from us. So that's it from me for now, and I look forward to speaking with you later today.
Thanks, Michael. It's always fun seeing which video Mark brings with him. I personally thoroughly enjoy it. Next up this morning, we are going to hear from Josh Prager. Now, Josh is with a company called Magnetic Social Media, and this morning he's going to share with us his thoughts and perhaps some tips as well about the role and the power of social media in our lives and what that can mean going into the future as well. Alright, so we're going to hand over to Josh now.
Good morning, boys and girls. How you doing? Right, so just some perspective on social media usage around the world. Who here at any point could stick their hand in their pocket and grab 20 bucks out, or ask dad and mum for 20 bucks? Any day of the week, who could do that? Any day of the week, you get 20 bucks off mum and dad. I reckon everyone in this room? If you can, you're in the top 10% of the world in terms of wealth, right? So 1 in 10 people throughout the world could not reach into their hand any day of the week and pick up 20 bucks. However, 1 in 3 people all around the world get onto Facebook once a week. So there are more people, 3 times as many people able to access Facebook every week than can pull $20 out of their pocket. That's pretty powerful. Okay, so social media is Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, all of these things. There's about 100 different platforms now, and they're becoming more and more important to our day-to-day life. This morning I read an article on the US election that's happening, and you are 7 times more likely to read about something to do with the federal election on one of these social media platforms than you are on the news. So news is becoming obsolete. We are looking to Facebook for all of our information. We're not watching the news channel. So it's changing the way that everything is happening worldwide. What do you think that means for you as young people in the society? You know, when we're choosing jobs that we're going into and what we're going to do as we move forward, Facebook is becoming more important than the news. This is very important for us because you guys are putting information out on Facebook. You're creating this digital version of yourself online, and that's where people are getting their information from, rather than the typical things like your televisions and that sort of stuff. It's super easy to use. Who here doesn't know how to use Facebook? You don't know how to use Facebook? You don't have Facebook? You don't have any social media? Instagram? Snapchat. Interesting thing about Snapchat, it is the only social media medium in any category to beat Facebook. And that is in this age group, in the 12 to 20 year olds. It has got more users than Facebook. It's about 75% of people in your age demographic have Snapchat, and only 68% of you will have Facebook. So it's the only one ever to beat it. Righto, it's becoming more important each year. On average, Facebook, 2 years ago, people would spend about 38 minutes a day on Facebook. Now it's up to about 50 minutes every single day. Every single person, 1/3 of the entire world, is using Facebook for 53 minutes every single day. To put that in context, that's one brand. So if you were to say, let's say that was McDonald's, that means that every time any one of us went out for dinner tonight, 7 out of 10 of us, it would be Facebook every single time, McDonald's every single time we went out for dinner. Can you imagine the power that would have? Facebook is changing. It is the one brand, it's the biggest brand that's ever been in the world. So that's very powerful. You've got to think about that. It's the way of the future. If you don't understand Facebook now, what's going to happen in 5 years or 10 years when people are changing, all of their news is coming from Facebook and you're not in there, guess what you're missing out on? You're out of it. So if you want it to be a person who gets to know people and all those things, you've got Snapchat, that's fine, but so Facebook is really powerful, but it is getting beaten in some ways. The other thing about it is it's also very easy to misuse. So if everybody's on there and they're spending 53 minutes there every single day, if you do the wrong thing online, if you bully someone online, everyone's going to know about it really quickly. There's the local girl here, Tiana Bourne. Does anyone know her? She did really well in the fitness. She's gone all over the world, conquering the fitness world. And she put up a post and says, look, I'm going to go to the World Championships, I'd like your help. But the way she wrote that post was not very, it was about, I need your money so I can go and do this thing. And the fitness community Australia-wide turned on her like that. She became instantly famous all over Australia and all of the fitness people because of the way she asked a question, which wasn't a bad thing to ask, but the way she portrayed it, the fitness world turned on her like that. And she's now instantly famous, but not for the good things. That has serious repercussions for her because she wants to be sponsored by clothing companies and supplement companies, and because she asked that question the wrong way, she's going to have a very hard time achieving those goals. So it's very easy to misuse Facebook or Snapchat or any of the other ones as well. Next slide, please. Alright, 1.49 billion people use Facebook at least once a month. So I've already talked about that. More people can get on Facebook than can buy a meal. Next one. So, back a couple. So in Australia, we've got that. Oh, cool. Alright, so in Australia, we've got 93% of people using Facebook. 93% of people get on Facebook once a month. It's at least once a month. Who hasn't been on today? Except for you. Alright, LinkedIn, 28%. If you are a professional person, LinkedIn is where to be at. Facebook is peer-to-peer, so we share with our friends. If you wanted to have a business profile and talk to other businesses, LinkedIn is like the adult version of Facebook. Instagram, 26% of people. Who here has more than 100 followers on Instagram? Stand up for me. We'll do a little exercise standing up. Who here has more than 200? Who here has more than 300? Who here has more than 400? Who here has more than 500? Who here has more than 600? I tell you what, you know what you're looking at? You're probably looking at the people who are most able to make money out of social media right now. Who has more than 700? Just, if you've got 701, you're standing up. More than 800? More than 900? More than 1,000? More than 1,100? Alright, well, we've got our winner. I want you guys to think about this though. What's more important than how many followers you've got is that you guys knew exactly how many followers you have on Instagram. We're going to watch a little video in a minute, and it's talking about how social media is changing our brain, the way we are using social media and the rewards it gets us, and you guys all knew exactly how many people you have on social media following you. It's a reward center, and we'll find a little video in a second that'll help that. Perfect timing, this is it. So you all knew exactly how many people are on your Instagram following you. So we're going to find out why this is so powerful, because we are so in tune with our social media, and this is why.
With social media sites being used by 1/3 of the entire world, they've clearly had a major influence on society. But what about our bodies? Here are 5 crazy ways that social media and the internet are affecting your brain right now. Can't log off? Surprisingly, 5 to 10% of internet users are actually unable to control how much time they spend online. Though it's a psychological addiction as opposed to a substance addiction, brain scans of these people actually show a similar impairment of regions that those with drug dependence have. Specifically, there's a clear degradation of white matter in the regions that control emotional processing, attention, and decision-making. Because social media provides immediate rewards with very little effort required, your brain begins to rewire itself, making you desire these stimulations, and you begin to crave more of this neurological excitement after each interaction. Sounds a little like a drug, right? We also see a shift when looking at multitasking. You might think that those who use social media or constantly switch between work and websites are better at multitasking, but studies have found that when comparing heavy media users to others, they perform much worse during task switching tests. Increased multitasking online reduces your brain's ability to filter out interferences and can even make it harder for your brain to commit information to memory. Like when your phone buzzes in the middle of productive work. Or wait, did it even buzz? Phantom vibration syndrome is a relatively new psychological phenomenon where you think you felt your phone go off, but it didn't. In one study, 89% of test subjects said they experienced this at least once every 2 weeks. It would seem that our brains now perceive an itch as an actual vibration from our phone. As crazy as it seems, technology has begun to rewire our nervous system, and our brains are being triggered in a way they never have before in history. Social media also triggers a release of dopamine, the feel-good chemical. Using MRI scans, scientists found that the reward centers in people's brains are much more active when they're talking about their own views as opposed to listening to others. Not so surprising, we all love talking about ourselves, right? But it turns out that while 30 to 40% of face-to-face conversations involve communicating our own experiences, around 80% of social media communication is self-involved. The same part of your brain related to orgasms, motivation, and love are stimulated by your social media use, and even more so when you know you have an audience. Our body is physiologically rewarding us for talking about ourselves online. But it's not all so self-involved. In fact, studies on relationships have found that partners tend to like each other more if they meet for the first time online rather than with a face-to-face interaction. Whether it's because people are more anonymous or perhaps more clear about their future goals, there's a statistical increase in successful partnerships that started online. So while the internet has changed our verbal communication with increased physical separation, perhaps the ones that matter the most end up even closer.
How cool is that? What do we hear there? It's changing the way our brain works. And the reason we know exactly how many followers we've got is because it's rewarding us. Every time we post something, we know that we've got all these people interested in us. Now you can decide for yourself whether or not that's good or bad. That's up to you. The fact of the matter is, it is how we operate now. And it's the way of the future. So the benefits, it's really easy to keep in touch with their family and friends. It's really nice. I lived overseas. I can be in contact with all my friends over there very easily. I know exactly what they're doing. Moments, shares, photos, all that stuff, really easy to do. It can be used for good. It's very easy now to create a community where you have like-minded people interested in the same things. You share ideas very easily. Memes. Who loves a meme? Before social media, there wasn't such a thing as a meme. It's incredibly fun. Fantastic networking tool, particularly with LinkedIn. As you become a professional, you can contact everyone, and it's really easy to keep them contacted. You don't have to remember their business card or take down their details. You can always find them quite easily. So it's easy and free, and it's worldwide, and it's instant. More people can use it than can buy food themselves. That blows my mind. Okay, so things to think about. When you put something up onto social media, I don't know if you've all read all the conditions about it when you first signed up. Everything you put up there, you no longer have rights to. So if you put up a photo of you, and it's later you decide you want to remove it because you don't like it, you want to be a politician later, and this photo that you've put up might be seen as racist or I don't know, put a picture of you that you don't think you want to be seen as later in life. It's too late. You no longer have rights to that photo. Facebook owns it. You can delete it, but it's too late. There is always a record of it, and they can find it. And if you became something like a politician, you have a look what's happening over there. You are going against Donald Trump. You don't think he will have someone come back through every single post you've ever put on Facebook and judge you for that? It's incredibly powerful. Everything you do online is a representation of yourself, and people will be able to find it if they want to. And that's very important, because right now it might not seem so important, but when you want to be a politician later in life, they're going to come looking. So everything you do now is going to have repercussions for the rest of your life. It's your digital footprint. Okay, so things you post today might be the reason you don't get a job or a position or a raise or something later in life, 10, 20 years down the track. If you have a comment, always try and be positive. It is a representation of yourself, and it always will be. So try and be positive. And that old thing that your parents have probably taught you, if you don't have something nice to say, probably don't say it. It's never been more true than online. Because right now you have a conversation with someone, you say something you don't mean, you're angry, you're upset, you say, you know what, sorry, I didn't mean that, I don't mean it, and you take it back and everyone forgets about it. On Facebook, 20 years' time, they will come back and they will remind you about that, and you will have to explain yourself again and again for the rest of your life. So it's very important. You can't take it back. So think about whether or not this will offend, hurt or harm someone. Same rules for bullying apply online. If you wouldn't do it to someone in class or in front of your friends, if you wouldn't do it in front of your mum, don't do it online, because it could always be, or it's always there. So make sure that it is not going to harm someone's reputation. It's not any sort of bullying. Essentially, if it's not nice and fair, don't say it, especially not online. Even if you're in a bad mood. If you're in a bad mood, don't go online. If you're in an argument online, go for a walk and come back. Don't post things in a flurry of angst and anger, because it can always come back to bite you. You are creating a digital footprint, and it's not ever going to go away. Okay, so social media is also very powerful. I was in Melbourne recently at a fitness exposition for bodybuilders, and we had the world's best bodybuilders there. And we were talking about the very best bodybuilders that the world's ever seen, and they had a line of maybe 100 people. There was a guy there by the name of Joey Swoll. Does anyone know him? Anyone in fitness? He's got like 100,000 Instagram followers, and for the 3 days of that expedition, he had probably about 300 people in his line. At a bodybuilding expedition, world champion bodybuilder had 30 people. This guy who's never done anything in bodybuilding his entire life, he just happens to have really good Instagram photos and really nicely done hair, had a line of 300 people the entire weekend. You had to wait 3 hours to get a photo with the guy. World champion bodybuilders at a bodybuilding event had maybe 30 people deep. That's powerful. This guy who has achieved nothing is popular on Facebook, popular on Instagram, and has a far bigger following. That's powerful. And something you guys need to be aware of, because if you're going to be successful in your life moving forward, what's more important? Being a really good bodybuilder or having heaps of followers online? Something to think about, especially if you want to make money out of social media. Make sure you like our page too, just while we're on that. Hashtags. Who knows what a hashtag is, how to use them? How many hashtags should you use on Instagram? Up to 30. Studies show 11 is the minimum you should put on your Instagram post in order to be highly successful. How many hashtags do you use on Facebook? 0 is the best way to get a response out of a hashtag on Facebook. 2 is the maximum before it dramatically reduces the effect of your post. Some really good hashtags there. Safer Together, because we're Safer Toowoomba Regional Partnership. Safe City, Popular, Great Presentation, and Josh is Legend. All good hashtags you can use for today if you like. And you can find us, we're on Magnetic Social Media, find us on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, and for the adults in the room, LinkedIn as well. That's my partner there. Are there any questions for me? Fantastic. I hope I've given you a little context into how powerful social media is, how huge it is in the world, and if you're ever worried about it, remember more people get on Facebook every day than can eat. Thank you.
Can everyone join me again in thanking Josh for giving his time up to be with us this morning? And I know that me personally, especially even that first video that you showed, for me was a take-home message from today. Just even noting why it is that I might sit down to study and end up on Facebook instead without even realising that I'm there is really, something I'll take home from today. We have a small gift for you, Josh, to thank you for your time. Can we give Josh another round of applause, guys? Thank you.
I'll put this on Facebook because we all know if it's not on Facebook, it didn't actually happen.
Never happened, exactly. Thank you, Josh. Alrighty, so next up this morning, I am going to introduce to you Joe and Scott from the Darling Downs Crime Prevention Unit. They're going to take you through now a couple of workshops that are going to lead on from what we've just been hearing from Josh. So not going to waste any time, I'm going to welcome them straight up now. Thanks, Joe and Scott.